I would say this. Tyrus, would you even be nervous as Tyrus has entered the building? Would you even be nervous if you were a reporter sitting in the press room knowing that Caroline Leavitt was going to challenge the premise of your question?
Only if my agenda was to push a narrative.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I refer to them, they're not media, they're squealers from the book Animal Farm. They just push narratives. They don't facts. And how about asking a question? Here's a crazy one. How'd it go?
Yeah.
You know, how is the president feeling after his conversation with Vladimir Putin? They never ask the real questions. It's just, it's a setup. Trying to, and I think it's funny they're always going after lately whether the President Trump is tired or seems off. Where were you 4 years ago?
Limping,
Yeah, limping. And, well, you know what? When you don't rest and you're doing generational work trying to clean up this country from 4 years of just disaster, you're going to be tired. You might have a limp.
Did you hear what Senator Lindsey Graham said? While flying back from Alaska on the 6th hour, right? A 2.5-hour meeting.
Yep.
Half-hour press conference, 6 hours one way, 6 hours the other. He calls up Lindsey Graham and said, do you want to play golf tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
So the guy, he's 79 years old. I want to play golf tomorrow morning. Got to get up at 8 o'clock. He's not going to be hungover. He doesn't drink.
No, he's gonna sleep. And I'm assuming there's a comfortable bed of some sort in Air Force One. Probably one of the most beautiful beds ever made. A lot of people say.
Right.
But,
some are saying.
Yes.
That's what they're telling me.
But again, this is the problem with the media. They shouldn't even have them in the room because they already have their questions and answers before they even go in the room.
But you know what? He's balancing out the press room now. They are balancing it out more.
Yes.
So you do get some questions like you've already brought stopped 5 wars in 5 separate nations, and then let him answer. And then, it's just kind of frustrating, I think. And I think that Caroline Leavitt is taking a page from Kayleigh. Kayleigh was the first I saw open up that book and say, here's the questions you should have asked.
Exactly.
This is what you're not doing. And I thought to myself, this is precedent setting. Caroline Leavitt picked up the mantle.
Well, Sarah Huckabee did the same thing. She started challenging the media. Like, why are you here? What was the point? You could have done all this without even asking the question.
She had the worst.
Yeah.
She had the whole Russia thing.
Yeah, and again, ask the question that people want to know. But again, that means you have to actually research. You have to pay attention. You can't get your questions off X.
So I was out yesterday. Thanks for filling in. You do an unbelievable job.
Oh, I appreciate the opportunity every time I get it.
So I don't know if you had a chance, I don't think, to talk about the CBS story. I just jumped on it late last night, flying back. And it turns out that if you look at Sherry Redstone, she wants to sell Paramount CBS, and she's en route to doing it to Skydance. And then all of a sudden, this Harris interview comes out, and the president says, I'm suing you. You made her look coherent.
Right.
I'm suing you. And he wins, and they said the suit's going, no, you sue. I want $15, $16 million. So she was talking to the New York Times the whole time. She goes, just don't publish it until we settle. And they said, a deal. So what she said is, I want to settle. And she goes, I want to settle. And you know one of the reasons why? It's about 5 pages, so it's a New York Times story, so it goes on forever. But one of the reasons why, she said, because in Discovery, they're worried about going back to the 2023 Biden interview. When Scott Pelley sat there, and according to reports, he was dozing off during the interview. Did Mr. Journalist say anything about that?
No.
She goes, it's going to get worse. We're going to get charged more if they start going after us. Cut a deal.
But that's the hold off on the story until after what journalism worth their merit would agree to that? They're not journalists. You tell the truth as it comes. Could you imagine if I did something stupid and I said, hey, do me a favor. Don't bring this up till after my negotiations with Fox, please. I don't want any distractions. The journalists would be like, absolutely not. The people need to know. This is the problem, and this is why the media is dead.
About the story itself, what do you think?
Yeah.
How do you think the fact that she's trying to be the mature person in the room and the journalist at CBS say, how dare you?
Yeah, no, because of course they have to say, how dare you? And then her rebuttal should be, no, how dare you? Because they're just not doing their craft. I mean, you went to school. You had to have some honor, some integrity. You want to be the best in your field.
Yeah.
And you have to ask, who benefits from this type of reporting? I'll be narrativing. Who benefits?
But can you imagine if they really don't understand that they're being biased? And with Sherry Redstone, who evidently, I did not know all this background, but her dad evidently treated her terribly. And then she had 2 gold-digging wives.
Great. We all have
bring it back
scars and bumps. And they don't know. They do know. That's what makes it
Yeah, they had two
Worse.
golden young wives that didn't work out, so she ends up
we've all
getting the
had
company.
issues. Yeah, I'm saying I was born with two left feet, and I wanted to square dance. I get it,
Right.
but it has nothing to do with doing your job. Do your job.
Yeah, so she was saying that she takes over, and she's like, you know what? The more I think of it, I think I just want to cash out. So in the meantime, Israel gets hit October 7th. She's big pro-Israel, and she's seeing the way CBS is covering Israel. Pro-Hamas, the way we've all been witnessing.
Right.
And she sees there's no balance. She asks for some balance. So she hires someone from the outside to come in and provide balance at 60 Minutes. She is recognizing the problem. So that guy quits because how dare you bring in somebody to oversee me? And then this whole thing blows up with Kamala Harris. One of her quotes was, to paraphrase, maybe Donald Trump can bring balance to the CBS newsroom.
Yeah, life is turning into Star Wars. We need balance in the force. We need balance in the thing. No, there needs to be mass firings. There needs to be, there are journalists out there that want to do their job. There are people that want to run a fair and balanced company. Because here's the thing, if you are fair and balanced, you will always be in the conversation.
And you get advertisers.
Yes, when you pick a side, short term, they can't see past their nose. If you pick a side, like I'm going all in on the left and Biden and Kamala, and if they win, you can carry that on for another 4 years. But then they lost, and they lost horribly. And the Wizard of Oz, they pulled the curtain and they saw all the stuff that was going on. Now you have nothing.
Right.
And that's what they have. And instead of accepting the fact that they picked the wrong side willingly, they're still trying to put Band-Aids on it. And if we could just get one thing on the president, it will all be worth it.
So here is Scott Pelley, October 2023. This is the same day he did the interview with Robert Hur, which, by the way, is the same day of the attack, this October 7th, on Israel. So cut 28.
As we spoke to the president, his Secretary of State was in Israel. His defense secretary was at a NATO meeting on Ukraine. America's oldest president seemed tired from directing all of this.
Directing. Number one, directing all of this? Are you kidding me?
Stop it. He didn't direct.
Covering for, right? Covering for.
You know what bothers me is that voice used to mean something. That voiceover, 60-minute voiceover, was powerful. It was truth. Now, when you hear it, you roll your eyes. You just go, they have completely destroyed their credibility. And as a journalist and as a TV show that pushes news, credibility is the only thing you have. It's not entertainment. He's not dazzling us with colorful epitaphs.
Just your opinion. Do you believe that he knows that he's not being balanced?
Yeah, 1,000%. This is not a dumb man. These are not dumb people. They went to the greatest schools and they had all the greatest things. They're martyrs. They know better than the American people. That's the Trump derangement syndrome, is that I'm smarter, I'm better. And it's a little bit of narcissism in there to where, maybe they're just jealous because their voices didn't have the same effect. You understand that President Trump took the expert out of the experts. There used to be, who was the number one guy on foreign policy? Was it Kerry? Was the guy, even Biden himself was considered, he's a foreign policy expert. And then this guy from Queens shows up and says, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And he's talking to everybody. I believe they said he talks at a 6th grade level, which means that everyone understands him, from somebody who's uneducated to a scientist. And he basically took all of their steam and their prestige out the window because it was all fluff. So he knows 1,000%. It's a revenge tour.
So listen to Scott Pelley at Wake Forest in May after they settled for $16 million. And he says the Harris interview is the way we do things, that the president had without merit to do this. He won anyway. Cut 30.
Power can rewrite history with grotesque, false narratives. They can make criminals heroes and heroes criminals. Power can change the definition of the words we use to describe reality. Diversity is now described as illegal. Equity is to be shunned. Inclusion is a dirty word. This is an old playbook, my friends. There's nothing new in this.
You look like I was going to cry.
Yeah, because it's projection.
By the way, those kids were graduating?
Yeah.
Thanks. Hi, Mom.
Yeah,
Hi,
they
Mom.
were real excited to hear that.
Yeah.
Again, this is what, and you can break this down in simple terms. A bad husband who's committed to his lie. He's committed to he wasn't cheating or whatever it was he was to destroy his marriage. He will continue. See, the beautiful thing about lies is they stick to everything. You can connect anything. Diversity isn't a bad thing.
It's how it's used.
Unqualified diversity is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Abused diversity is a bad thing. DEI was a bad thing because it doesn't matter what color the box is that you put in the store. It's whether the product delivers to the consumer. Bottom line.
And that's what the president got back to, meritocracy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, listen, inclusion is great except for the excluded people.
Yeah, we have inclusion in this country. It's called opportunity.
Yeah, that's it.
Best and bright is simple.
Right, and compared to something else. President's moving in on education. He's moving in on law and order. He's moving in on world peace. He's trying to bolster up our security, get our energy sector going, and he's doing it all at once, and we're only 7 months in.